What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me. NBA Finals Game 3 recap. Celtics win 116-100. Took care of business from the start. Got a little shaky in the third like usual, but they took care of business, man. They go up 2-1 at home in Boston for the first time. What's the next game, Quick? In a couple days?
Yeah, I think
Sunday?
it's like a weird schedule, so because they want to be able to
Saturday?
force a potential Game 7 Sunday. So I think it's I think they play Friday and then don't play again until Monday, which would then set it up so you're on that Game 7 Sunday schedule.
There you go. All right.
Yep.
So Boston goes up 2-1. We're going to jump right into it. 116-100. They get a good game from Clay. They get a good game from Steph. Draymond doesn't necessarily play that well, but they lose by 16.
Doesn't necessarily play that well, yeah. It's an understatement.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he didn't play very well.
He didn't do anything, yeah.
Yeah. Similar to game one, honestly.
Yes.
It kind of looked like game one. Yeah, I don't know what it's interesting what's going on with Draymond. I don't know. We'll talk about it, but give me your initial thoughts on the game. They go up 2-1 because I got some pretty strong feelings about what's going on here. Talk to me. And let me get you on the split real quick.
Yeah. So I think this game, a few things that stood out to me. Number one, it was clear from the very beginning of the game that Boston wanted to run things through Jaylen Brown. I don't know if that was something that happened pregame. I don't know when they made that
Multiple
decision.
First quarters, though.
Yeah, but he came out yesterday, and I mean, he's facilitating, he's scoring, he's doing things on the defensive end, and they're really feeding off that. And they get up on Golden State early. You even say it all the time. They make everything extremely difficult for the Warriors, and that's been the case the whole first half of the entire series, right? I think a couple key things happened, though. Number one, without a doubt, the Steph foul trouble loomed over the entire game. He got into early foul trouble. I think it was 6 minutes in the first. He had two.
Yeah, like 5:50 in the first. He had two, yeah.
And it never really slowed down, carried that all the way into the third quarter, which then caused them problems. I'll get into that in a second. But the one thing that really stood out to me more than anything, and this is from the very beginning of the game, and you can't beat a team like Boston that's this good offensively like this, is that they just could not grab a rebound. They kept getting killed on the glass. And you cannot give the Boston Celtics extra possessions. I think it was 47 rebounds to 31 in
47-31.
Yep, and 15 of those were offensive boards. 15 offensive boards. So that's 15 extra possessions for the Boston Celtics. It really came back to bite them in the third quarter when they were going on their run, because every time they'd start a run, they could not grab a board on defense, right? So if you work this hard to stop this team, because the Boston Celtics offensively can be a juggernaut. We know that. We've talked about that. They have multiple different guys that can score. You work your ass off for 20 seconds to stop them on defense, only to give the ball right back to them and not even get a chance to get back on offense and go up. I think it killed whatever run they were going to have multiple times. Mix that in with the fact of the third quarter towards the end, Kerr had to bench Steph Curry because of the foul trouble, and he wanted to use him for the fourth. You add those two things together, the fact that, again, you're getting killed on the offensive glass, you keep giving them extra possessions, which they're going to convert on, and you have no Steph Curry to bail you out or continue those runs, it killed them, because ultimately the third quarter was good for them. They outscored them 33-25 in the third quarter. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, but with the fact that, again, they kept giving up extra possessions on the glass, and then you had no Steph Curry to kind of give you those daggers and do the things that he's been doing in the third for you, you never really had a chance, right? You couldn't pull away the way that you needed to. You even got up at one point in the third quarter. I think they were up by one, right?
Yeah, they went up.
But then gave up an offensive rebound, and the next thing you know, Boston blows it back out. And then I think once the fourth hit, they were just done, man. I mean, you need something from some of these other guys. I get Clay had a bit of a bounce back game. It was a 25.
A bit of a bounce back game.
It was good, but I mean,
that's the best he's played by far.
For sure. But it still wasn't. I mean, they needed more, right? They needed someone else to step up for this team yesterday. I think Jordan Poole only had 10. Wiggins had 20, but it wasn't an inspired 20. It was just it was ugly. It was disjointed, man. and they just got outplayed yesterday.
Listen, man, they don't have any more left. And they don't have any more. What more? What are you talking about? That's what I'm looking at.
What,
They don't have any more.
Jordan Poole can't score more than 10 points in a ball game?
Yeah, of course. Okay, they lost by 16, Nick. What?
Yeah, no, I understand.
He can score 10. He can score 10 more.
Yeah.
They still lose by 6 points.
For sure.
I'm going to tell you this right now. The series is done and dusted. Boston's going to win the series. It might go 7. I don't really care either way. I think Boston is an overall better, more physical, longer team. That's it. That's all. I've been okay. This is kind of my thing. If you've listened to the first 2 recaps, first recap, I said before the series started, I'm like, man, my gut's just telling me Boston is better. So I kind of flipped last minute and went to Boston. Game 1 and 2, Boston gets destroyed. Boston goes crazy in the 4th in game 1, so they win that game. So we could maybe even cancel out game 1. Cancel out the
game
4th.
1 is we've been said that game 1 was an anomaly.
But when you remove the best like that quarter from Boston, I think more times than not when I'm watching them, quarter to quarter, possession, whole games, they're just better than Golden State. They make like I've been saying, everything is extremely difficult for Golden State outside of whatever the fuck is going on in the third quarter, which I guess they've been doing that for years now. But that's what it is. I think a big key from what I saw last night, and I even called you during the game, is Grant Williams III, a.k.a. Time Lord.
Robert Williams.
Robert Williams, my fault. Yeah, Robert Williams. Yeah, shout out Grant Williams too, though. He be playing his ass off as well. But I'm talking about Robert Williams III, Time Lord. Is he seems to be moving differently. I don't know if he got that new back in Boston.
They went to Germany and got that dirt.
He went and got some type of injection in his knee, but he was moving the best I've seen since he got injured.
For sure.
Especially
in the fourth quarter.
He looked amazing yesterday. That's a massive difference. They're throwing him lobs. He's rebounding. I think Boston
eating everything at the basket that the Warriors.
That's what he always does.
Quarter. Yeah, eating everything. Well, if we look at it too, he's clearly hurt because they play him in spurts. Like if you watch, they'll put him in for 4 or 5 minutes, then take him out. Put him in for 4 or 5 minutes, take him out. Right. So it's clearly something where like, okay, as soon as you feel some inflammation, we'll pull you out, let it settle down, and then throw you back in. But in the fourth quarter, he was amazing. Grabbing every board.
26 minutes last night, though.
Yeah, blocking every shot. He was all over. But it just speaks to the fact that the Warriors have absolutely no size. So let me ask you this. In a game like that, where you're getting killed on the glass, right, and size is clearly an issue, and energy is an issue, if we're being completely honest, why do you only play Looney 17 minutes?
It's a good question.
He's the only big you have. I mean, we talked about this the other day. He's literally the only big that you have on the entire roster. And you're getting killed on the glass, and that seems like the kind of things that he does. I mean, I get he doesn't do a ton for you offensively, but I just couldn't for the life of me understand.
He had 7 boards in 17 minutes.
He had 7 boards in 17 minutes. So it seems to me like, hey, if Draymond's playing like shit, right? I know you want to, for whatever reason, get Otto Porter 22 minutes last night, but man, put Looney in there and just try to grab a rebound, because in the third quarter, it was just so clear. They could not go on a run because they could not grab a rebound. You got up in the game. Got up in the game and then gave it back due to offensive rebounding. Tatum was a 0 in the third quarter. He didn't want to be there.
Yeah, he wasn't around in the third. He got a little bit active towards the end, but for the most part of the third, he was kind of cruising like we've been talking about.
Yeah, so I think that there was some coaching shit in there that I was looking at like, man, throw Looney in the ball game, focus on some rebounding, get some hustle in there because you're getting out-hustled. And to your point, Boston's a better team, right? Top to bottom, you can't get out-hustled. You have to outplay them. You cannot get killed on the board 47-31. That is insane to me. And Draymond, I'm sorry, man. Look, if you're going to play, how many minutes? 35 minutes last night as the big and get 4 boards on a night that y'all are getting killed on the glass, like that's inexcusable. Looney had 3 offensive rebounds.
Do you think part of all that talking and the distraction and the Draymond technical foul and how to approach him and what you should do if he gets a tech affected his game? No. Or kind of distracted him a little bit?
No, I don't think he's that good anymore. I mean, if we're being completely honest, I think that he has moments like game 2 was great for him, but overall,
But
this
is
is
that a moment? Is a moment a whole game? He played that
yeah,
game.
he
He was
put yeah.
sensational the whole
I don't,
game.
I don't know what happened yesterday. I can't sit here and say the crowd got into him because it's not the first crowd to jeer him. Obviously, they were on him from the very beginning, but the team overall just didn't have it. Like they came out flat. I mean, when you get trounced like that in the first quarter, in the first 10 minutes of the game, they came out flat. So I don't know where his energy, emotion, all these intangibles that he brings were last night, but they weren't there. He wasn't bringing the energy. You watch Wiggins. Look, man, Wiggins is like a corpse out there, dude. He has zero emotion. If he gets a bad foul call, he just turns around, walks back. Like
he had a couple drives to the basket that were really good, and he just he never really followed him up, and it never really got him going.
Yeah, he doesn't get going, and that's what I'm saying. When you're like, well, where's more? I'm like, there is more. There is more to squeeze there from this Warriors team. You're just not getting it.
Man,
you're not getting. You can get more from Poole. You can get more from Clay. You can get more from Draymond, and you can get more from Wiggins. You really can, and you can not have Steph in foul trouble. But again, to your point, I'm not arguing that Boston's a better team. There's no doubt about it that Boston's a better team, but I do believe Golden State can play a better game. But they just haven't really done it in this series. And yesterday, to me, was a complete dud because you got beat on things that are controllable. Like the glass is controllable. You can't have a rebound discrepancy
this
like
is
that.
The thing. It's not controllable when you don't have the bodies. You understand what I'm
playing
saying?
Your bodies,
but you know what I mean. Boston's probably going to beat them on the boards every game the rest of the series.
But it hasn't been like this.
Yeah, no, well, not 16 board.
It hasn't been like 16 board differential is crazy.
Yeah,
I guess it was glaring yesterday. It's not like it was like, oh wow, they had 16 more boards. It was like, wow, they're killing them on the glass.
I'm going to tell you this, man. If I read out and said, hey, before the game starts, I say, Nick, Steph's going to score 31 on better than 50% shooting. Clay's going to score 25. Wiggins is going to give you 18. And they lose by 16 points, you tell me like, yo, it's impossible.
Well, would you tell me that they're going to score 11 in the fourth, or that they're going to get 18 off the bench?
And Tatum shoots 9 of 23. You'd be like, no, there's no way.
Dude, the Warriors have to play a flawless game almost to beat this team, but I'm just saying that it's not outside the realm of possibility. They can't. I don't know, and I also don't know why I'm trying to die on the Warriors hill as if I'm a Warriors fan or something. I guess maybe I'm just not impressed by Boston, and I haven't been impressed by them.
I don't see how I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You know what it comes. That's what it comes down to. I have been extremely impressed with Boston, and Golden State is kind of. I'm just like game one, extremely impressed with what they did, how they were pressuring them to start the game. Then they get beat up in the third, but then bounce back in the fourth. Very impressive performance. Call it lucky, whatever. Game two, they're completely locked early. They're completely locked the entire first half. It's a close game in the first half. They get their doors blown off in the third quarter. And now, remember what I said. They ripped the cord, hit the eject button, didn't play the entire fourth. They're like, all right, we got one in San Francisco. Let's go hard and go home. I'll pull the ripcord. We'll get some guys some rest. Go back to Boston. Then they get back home and beat the shit out of these dudes. The whole game. They bust their ass the whole game. It's been very impressive. And that's what I'm saying. And now you're going to tell me Grant Williams is now, it looks like he's a little healthier all of a sudden.
Robert.
And Robert, my fault. Robert is a little healthier at the rim, and he's rebounding and blocking shots. He had 4 blocks. You can't get anything at the rim. You can't rebound. Now Steph's scoring 30, Clay's scoring 25, and y'all lose by 16. I just don't. I'm trying to figure out like where this shit shifts. Like God forbid they don't lose the third quarter by a dozen. What if they started fucking around and losing the third quarter by 5, 6 points, 7 points? They've lost every third quarter by 10, 12, 13 points, 15 points.
8 last night.
8. Okay, so yes, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's like, sure. Man, and honestly, Tatum hasn't really had like a Steph Curry type game yet.
But the other guys have carried. I mean, look at Marcus Smart last night.
But
I was like,
hey, I mean. They have those early, guys.
I'm like, oh yeah, keep feeding Marcus Smart. Like, let him shoot you out the ball game. But he was hitting those shots. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think ultimately, ultimately, if I had to put money on it, obviously I'm putting my money on Boston. It's just I I guess I don't see this as a completely unflippable series yet, and I can't necessarily explain to you why, but
you've been saying that since game 2. The last recap, you're like, I'm still on the Warriors.
Yeah, and I'm not like, again, my money is now shifted. I wouldn't put money on Golden State at this point in time, but I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and won game 4, then they go back to the crib, and who knows what happens from there. If they don't win game 4, obviously this is over, but it's just,
think about it like this. This always opens my eyes. Boston or Golden State has to win 3 of the next 4.
Yeah.
2 are in Boston and 2 are in Golden State. How do they do that? Yeah. I just cannot see that. I cannot see them winning 3 of the next 4 games. I just don't see it whatsoever. The way that Boston's been playing, the weapons, and Tatum has been whimsical. Lackadaisical, like you know what I'm saying? Man, Grant Williams coming off the bench, scoring a 10 points in 20 minutes.
So how many of those? And I want to know how many of those Grant Williams were putbacks off offensive.
They were all putbacks.
Yeah.
They were all putbacks, from what I remember. I think so. He was 4 or 7. He had 1 3. The other 6, 7 points are all putbacks. Yeah. And they were all off offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds.
And you're saying that happens again?
Oh, Grant. I mean, Grant 10 boards and 5 points. They get that from everybody. Derek White 7 points. Grant Williams 10 points. They said Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Tatum all going for 25, 5, and 5 is the first time since like 1990 or some shit. It was like
it was magic, and
it was some crazy stat, right? They just have guys, and I understand what you're saying about Clay.
So I will say this: I just went back through it. This is the first game that they out rebounded them in the entire series.
Really?
Yeah.
But what's the disparity in game 1 and game 2? It's got to be tight.
It's 29 to 32, 33, 32, and then 47, 31.
Okay. So, I mean.
So, again, when you start.
You better be rebounding at home.
You better.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I guess at the end of the day, of course, we've watched all 3 games, right? Game 1 and game 2, I think Boston gave them a lot of trouble for a veteran championship pedigree squad at home to open the finals.
Game 1 was weird.
Now we're going to go to Boston, and I think they bust their ass again. The next game, I don't. What's gonna? This is the thing, man. I don't think anything.
Miami game 6.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
Miami
game 6. Miami game 6.
And that's why I guess maybe that's why I'm still like hesitant on Boston, because it's like, man, this team. Yeah, and look, man, I'm probably wrong on this. This team's in the NBA Finals. They're up 2-1. They dominated last night. I should probably hop on the bus, but I'm just not ready to be like, yo, this is over. I've just watched too many series to be after game 3 seeing some weird shit and be like, yo, it's over. Like I'm not ready to go on that yet. I get where you're coming from, but I'm just not ready to say that yet. I really do think this series could still flip in the Warriors' favor, but I'm obviously picking Boston at this point.
Put it like this. I started to lean Boston right before the series started. Then I saw what I saw, and then I liked Boston. Now they're up 2-1, and they were rolling last night.
Yeah.
And now I'm just seeing enough. Boston's going to win the series. That's how I feel about it. Also, I got to post the clip. I got to get the clip. How often does this happen when you're sports betting? What did I say, Nick, on the podcast last game? I go, I like Boston to win the game. And then I'm really looking at the Warriors team total under 105.5.
Yeah.
That's just like my gut reaction coming off of game 2. I'm like, that's what I would look at. That's what I would go to take. I don't take Boston. They cover easy. And then I don't take the team total. I take the overall game total, and I miss it by a bucket. I got 2.
Did they get anything late? Was it a late 3 or anything like that? Was it
it was like a – yeah. No.
It just happened organically.
They didn't score like the last 40 seconds or something. Okay. So like it was dead.
It wasn't that bullshit.
So it wasn't any bullshit. But I ended up taking the full game under, and I miss it by a bucket.
Yeah.
And I talked to you before the game, like, yeah, I'm on the under, the game under, and then Draymond under 8.5. Free money, by the way. He's scoring 8 points at home in one of the best games he's played all playoffs, he scored 8 points. So he's going to go on the road in Boston.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Anyway.
They thought he was going to come out firing or something.
Yeah.
Like,
nah.
come on. Yeah.
So that was free, right? So I hit that. But man, I should have just went with my gut off the top. Took Boston, took the team total under, and then took Draymond, and I would have been 3-0, sweep it up. And instead, I split. But yeah, I'm anything else. Talk to me a little bit more about what you didn't like about Klay. I mean, he didn't shoot it that well. He was 7 of 17, 5 of 13 from three, but he did get a couple jumpers.
And he got
a stretch where he hit like 2-3 jumpers.
And I don't want to sit here and say I didn't like it. He absolutely had a stretch where he hit 3 in a row, and he had a couple runs like that. It's just still overall, man. I think they need someone to explode for like 30 plus points. That's not Steph Curry. Like, you need a contribution from somebody else that's not Steph Curry. And I think everybody else is just kind of falling in line, doing what they've done all year, right? You're getting 17, 18 from Wiggins. You're not getting what Poole's getting all year. You got in game 2. You haven't gotten in game 1 and 3. But there hasn't been that role player, that secondary guy, right? Boston's had it every game. They had Marcus Smart. They had Al Horford. They had Derek White. You've had these random guys that step up in NBA Finals games and win them for you, in addition to your marquee pieces. They haven't had that, right? They're getting nothing from their bench. They're getting inconsistency from Jordan Poole. It is all on Steph, which, look, he's Steph Curry. He's one of the 10, 15 greatest players of all time. So obviously he's going to bear that responsibility. So when it comes to Klay, it's like, man, we just need that game where it's like truly Splash Brothers. Like, I'm feeding off you. You're feeding off me. I'm smacking shit. I'm drawing the attention. You know, I'm going for 30, you're going for 35, and guys can't handle us, and you're not getting that. And maybe it's not possible. Are we living
in a different year though?
But
are people looking at the jersey and then the stage and being like, "Yeah, we need Klay we need Splash Brothers. Meanwhile, they're getting destroyed inside, rebounding and points in the paint. They lost points in the paint 52-26. And the other thing too,
fucking rebound.
100%. The other thing too is, like, you know how you're a shooting team, you have a bad shooting night, you're like, we just didn't shoot it that well, and we'll come back and shoot it better. They're not going to do that again, right? They're not going to shoot, for example, 3 of 19 again from 3, whatever. The physical, bigger body part, bigger in the paint part, that doesn't change.
Well, Golden State hasn't had.
We're more physical. Boston's more physical, bigger, better in the paint,
and more athletic.
And that's not gonna, like, there's no, like, we'll come back next game and be better there. It's like
they haven't protected the rim all series, and last night, especially in the first half, the rim protection was. You might have been able to get a layup in there the way that they were guarding the rim. It was awful. I think Van Gundy almost had a heart attack.
Yeah.
So
it's easy. They were laying it up.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Dude, Klay had a good game. He had a good bounce back game, but it's like we needed more. Like, this is almost like the Steph Curry game 1, right? What you did versus what you needed. Yes, you did something. You did a lot. Like, and you look at the box score, it looks good. But when you watch the game, we needed more. Right? You needed more than what you got from Steph in game 1. You needed more than what you got from Klay in game 3. Even though he gave you more than he's been giving you, you needed more. This is the NBA Finals. We need more, right? If there's ever a time to ask for more, it's this series. We need more, and you're not getting that more from any of those Warriors guys. You are getting a lot of more. It's like a fucking sermon. You're getting a lot of more from those Celtics guys, dude. You know what I mean? Like, Marcus Smart, you got more last night. Jaylen Brown, he might average 27 for the season, but you got more. His 27 was different last night. It set the tone. His playmaking, his rebounding, his defense.
So for the Warriors,
and defensively, Klay is fucking toast.
Toast. So the Warriors have to they're going to have to win a game in Boston to win the series, right?
Yes.
So for that game in Boston, the Warriors are going to need Klay to score 30. Steph to score 35.
I understand.
Clean up the boards.
Get what you're
and
saying.
Wiggins to score 18 and Poole to score 18. And Draymond to play lockup D.
Yes.
It's a tall. And when I hear that and look at that, I'm just like, that's too big of an ask. It's too tall of an ask.
That's fine.
for the Warriors to get, in my opinion, at this place in the season, in this series against these dudes. It's just going to be extremely tough.
Yeah, and not if you get bullied like you did last night. Last night was, I don't think they got bullied in game one. I think they got beat. They got bullied last night. That was different.
They got killed last night.
Yeah.
So Looney needs more minutes. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
When the game's going that way, you just said he had 7 rebounds in 17 minutes and you couldn't grab a rebound. So it seems like he was in
seems
good
basic
form.
math.
Yeah, it seems basic math to me. Especially if you're not getting anything from Draymond, you're not getting anything from Otto Porter. I mean, yeah, those should be.
Any Kuminga?
I don't know. I talked to you last night. I was like, I don't know what I know he's a rookie, and I know this is a big stage, but you need athleticism and energy and a guy that'll fly around.
He's got it.
Maybe a guy who doesn't know any better, right? Hey, man, go in there and just do some shit. We need somebody to go in there and just do some shit. Fucking run around, jump around, block some shots, give a bunch of energy. If you suck, we'll pull you out. But if you affect the game, awesome. But we both said it. You said it. Like, I think I called you in the third quarter, early fourth. You're like, I don't know why they haven't gone Kuminga yet.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, at that point, if you're not getting things, if guys aren't playing with energy, you got to make a change.
100%.
For the sake of making a change, just fucking go in there, man. Hey, fly around, dude.
What I just had a question for you. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, yes, Kuminga. You got to just try something else.
I'm not mistaken like Jonathan Kuminga for a savior, but
no,
you get
right.
what I'm saying, where sometimes you just inject some life. Like, you're gonna lose anyways. Like, see what happens. Like, at that point, nothing you were doing was gonna work. So why not just see who else you got? I mean, you were playing Bielitsa last night, for God's sakes. Like, fucking put him Kuminga.
Couple minutes, yeah. I want to talk about the 7-point possession. Have you ever seen that before? By the way,
that was pretty crazy.
That was insane.
The 4-point play with the flagrant.
Like, that's only some shit you would see in a Warriors third quarter.
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
And by the way, when Otto put that up, I'm like, man, if this shit falls, dog.
I can't believe he hit that.
Yo, that shit was all net.
I went like this when he hit it. I did the big money Otto.
Money Otto with the buzzer beater.
Otto's in a plush robe right now, lounging.
Yeah, I've never seen this. I've never seen that a 7-point possession. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
That is I saw a tweet that was pretty funny. They said, why are they pulling the starters down 14? It's only a 2-possession game.
Yeah, for real.
So I thought that was funny. But yeah, I've never seen a 7-point possession. Also, now that I think about that possession, there's, the stuff with Al Horford that's swirling around that Steph may be a little banged up. You said he's good.
Was it from the Horford or was it when Horford fell on him?
From when he fell on him on the dive. So yeah, that'll be a talking point. It'll be interesting. Let me see what the line is right now for game 4. You want to take a guess?
It was 3.5 was this one.
3.5 game 3. It's probably the same thing.
Yeah, I'd probably say 4.
It's probably got to be 3.5 or 4. If it's
Boston.
5, then
Boston -4.
It might not even be posted. They might be waiting on. It's 4. Boston -4.
Yeah, 4.
214.5 is the total. I still like the under again. I'll probably bet the under.
What's the money line? -220.
170.
170.
Yeah, I like Boston minus. Man, I don't know, bro. I don't. maybe I'm just.
I'm probably creeping into your head. Don't listen to me.
Maybe
anymore.
I'm just too high on Boston, but
maybe I'm too low.
I'm definitely not betting the Warriors.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't. I just can't. Like, maybe the only bet I've made all series on the side was game 2 Warriors because they weren't going to go down 0-2. That shit just wasn't going to happen. So I took that, hit that. But this game, this is that spot where, you know what? If this is the spot where if Boston wins, you probably bet the Warriors game 5 in San Francisco. It'll be like Warriors -2.
Look, no way they're getting closed out.
Yeah.
There.
In 5. They're not losing in 5. So but then you go back to Boston, and then you bet Boston game 6.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. Yeah, I honestly think we're giving too much credence to the old Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors mystique.
The Warriors, yeah, no, like on some,
which is fair.
It's human nature.
Yeah,
but I think you gotta kind of don't believe like what we say, watch the film. Like, don't believe your lying
for
eyes.
sure.
Like, I'm standing there watching this shit, and I'm like, man, Steph's gotta hit 6 threes. He's finishing at the cup really well as well. He's making a lot of tough ass buckets, and they're getting smoked.
And well, if I'm Udoka, I'm saying, look, guys, game 5, we're literally, or game 4, we're literally attacking the paint all day long and just out hustle them because we have more size. If we grab more rebounds, we win this game. Period. Create more possessions, we win the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything
else you got before we get out of here? Game 5 is Friday, June 10th. Rest in peace, my pops. That's my dad's birthday, June 10th. Was a huge Jason Tatum guy, by the way.
I thought he was LeBron, biggest LeBron fan ever.
Biggest LeBron fan ever.
LeBron James. We gotta pull up some of those old clicks.
Insanely big LeBron fan.
LeBron could turn water into wine.
Yeah, my dad never had a bad thing to say about LeBron.
Which is crazy because a lot of the old heads tend to like complain about LeBron. Your pops, oh my God, love LeBron James.
Dude, love LeBron like a son.
Not LeBron.
Oh my God, he loved LeBron. But he was big on Tatum coming out of Duke. He's like, look, man, this dude's gonna be one of the best players in the league, top 3. Yeah. Like, mark my words. And
I was on Tatum too. I usually don't like Duke guys, but I was like, the footwork and there's some next level shit there.
I know I said this probably a couple of pods ago, but when I was in Miami, I saw him like in person, and he's massive. He's humongous.
Yeah.
A legitimate 6'11".
Oh yeah.
6'10". Yes, he's big as hell.
Height like that, yeah.
Yes, he's huge. So, yeah, man, he's a bucket, and we'll see what happens here in Game 5 at home. Don't let Steph slow up a little bit and those 7-point plays in the third quarter, and Steph go crazy. I'm telling you, I don't see if you get. Let me see the futures price on the series.
Golden State was minus 105 last week, right? Or minus 110?
Minus 115, minus 110. It was Boston was minus 115. They're minus 240 now.
Golden State?
Boston's minus 240. Golden State's plus 200.
What a flip.
If you wanna take Boston in 6, it's plus 170. Boston in 5 is plus 320. They don't even, and Boston in 7 is plus 550. So the Boston in 6 is the
6 is the move.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Game 5.
If 4. This does go to 7, let me ask you this: is like a crazy look ahead. If this does go, I guess we'd have to watch the next 3 games and see how they went. But if this does go to 7, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer that.
You got to see what
what did my man? Did you? Yeah, I can't answer that. Did you see? I'll talk to you about this offline. I thought it was pretty hilarious. All right, we'll let you guys go, man. NBA Finals recap Game 3 in the books. We'll see y'all for Game 4 on Friday night. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We out of here.